Right, welcome to a brand new one. In the last one, we learned how to list and operate, kind of operate your Kubernetes cluster. We list namespaces, we list all the deployment services as well. It's not about always about just listing things. We want to create things on Kubernetes cluster. So the first thing I want to do is create a namespace named as intracity Kubiya. All right. So I have got my terminal open as well. I could get all the namespaces, which is going to show us that we don't have any Kubiya intracity namespace. All right. So what's going to happen is it's going to ask us to select the tunnel. So we've created bunch of tunnels, right? So I'm going to select run a Kubiya tunnel, and now it's going to start creating the namespace for us. All right, we have got the namespace now created in Intracity Kubiya, and we've got a label as well. Now let's start deploying your application. Let's suppose you want to start deploying a deployment onto your Kubernetes cluster in the same namespace. So what I'm going to say is create a deployment and on Intracity Kubiya namespace. We want to deploy things, right? As a DevOps engineer, we are always involved in deploying an app or an API or a services. So the smallest thing which you could do is creating a deployment. So it's going to ask us that to create a deployment, I need some additional information. Could you please provide me the name and the Docker image? Name would be intracity NGINX, and image would be NGINX. Alright, as you can see, the deployment has now been created in the namespace this, and we've got one replica because we did not define any replica, and we have got the container, we've got the image as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it to increase the replica set from 1 to 2. Could you increase the replica set to 2 for the deployment? Alright, so masking is, please ignore the typo. Kubiya is going to handle it on its own because it understands the next best word. Alright, now the deployment has been completed. It has been scaled from 1 to 2. Let's now list it. Could you list the deployment so that we can verify the replica set has been increased from 1 to 2? And that's what we want, right? Alright, it has listed the deployment, which means that it has increased the replica set as well from 1 to 2. And then we could add, similarly, we could add labels as well. So let's suppose, could you add a label owner Shan to the deployment? So what we are saying is we're just instructing Kubiya to add the label as well. All right, the operation has been completed, and you can see that it has applied the label as well. Isn't it too easy to deploy an application into your Kubernetes cluster using Kubiya, which used to be really difficult for non-DevOps engineers and non-tech people? Now, if you're a business owner or a product owner and you don't have the right knowledge about working knowledge about Kubernetes cluster, still you can go ahead and ask Kubiya to do things for you, ask Kubiya to deploy apps for you, ask Kubiya to list the application which is being deployed by your team. I hope this was informative. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.